Hello, my name is Rick, and this is the Dwarven Fortress of Floortorch. We have a very special guest today, because this is the third siege of Floortorch. But it's not a very large siege, just 6 goblin bowmans. What happened last time was they got their asses handed to them pretty badly, and things aren't going to go any better for them this time. The goblins aren't going to have any better armor or training than they did last time, but this time around, the dwarves of Floortorch have more troops, more training, maybe even better equipment, definitely more armor. The most the goblins managed to accomplish last time was that they did inflict a couple of injuries that we did have to treat at the hospital, including knocking one of our guys down. But apparently it wasn't too serious because no one stayed in the hospital very long. They got right back up again. So here we have Tense, the Axe-Dwarf, and Marky, the Marks-Dwarf, and Shooty, the Militia Commander. We've got Forgiving, the Spear Dwarf, and Private, the Marks-Dwarf. And we have Spider Pig, the Bow Dwarf, armed with a crossbow that she hasn't really learned how to use yet, but oh well, this will be training. Here we have Cold, the Spear Dwarf, Polite, and Sturbuckler, the Spear Dwarves. Let's check out their equipment. They're missing some of their equipment, but they have some pretty good stuff, such as Tense, the Axe-Dwarf here, missing some boots, but he does have an iron helm that's well made, a steel battle axe, iron greaves, a steel breastplate that's well made, an iron shield. Here is Polite, the Spear Dwarf. Being one of the earlier dwarves, she's picked up some of the better stuff, I guess. So she's got a masterfully made steel spear, an iron shield, a steel mail shirt, a steel helm, steel gauntlets, steel greaves. Okay, that's not actually a typical example. That's got to be one of the better equipped ones. I have ordered the troops to step outside the fort. It would not be super surprising if there were some goblin snatchers out here lurking, waiting to try to pick off a few dwarven children. So here come the troops. Here they are. I have ordered the troops to meet them halfway. I'm just going to let them fight whoever they see, whoever they want to pick. Here we go. Okay, this is what happened last time, so that's why I expected it. But sure enough, there are some snatchers on the field as well. Okay, here we are, the start of the conflict. Here are the goblin thieves, the goblin snatchers. Here's the first of the goblin bowmans, firing off an iron arrow at my guys. It's not very nice. But here comes this rather large dwarven army. And they're going to have something to say about this. This goblin bowman is terrified while in conflict and uneasy after seeing the goblin's dead body. He should be. He had to walk by the remains of some of his friends on the way to get here. That should have been a sign. Here comes the dwarf attack. Ooh, this is so exciting. This is the only second time I've ever really seen combat truly in the Steam system. Oh, they're running. So far, the combat report reads, the Spear Dwarf Forgiving is fighting. The Goblin Bowman Snema's Zuggaspis Bow is fighting. The Axe-Lord Stintad Uzorlanriz is fighting. The ex-dwarf Brave is fighting. The Marksdwarf Meng the Mechanic is fighting. Oh. Yeah, Steel Spear has launched firmly in the wound. The Spear Dwarf stabs the Goblin Bowman in the left lower leg, fracturing the bone. The Steel Spear is lodged firmly in the wound. The Spear Dwarf pulls on the embedded Steel Spear. The Spear Dwarf gains possession of the Steel Spear. The Spear Dwarf bites the Goblin in the left foot through the worn-out Great Horned Owl Leather High Boot. The Spear Dwarf punches the Goblin Bowman in the head with her left hand, bruising the skin through the iron helm. The force bends the neck, tearing apart the fat and bruising the upper spine's nervous tissue. A tendon in the upper spine has been bruised. Yeah, the Goblin thieves ran as fast as they could. The bowmen tried to stand their ground, and that was just the Spear Dwarf's report alone. So I'm going to skip some of the rest of this, see what happens next. Oh, splat. Here are 3 more Goblin Bowmans. Here's an arrow in flight, probably fired by this guy. And the dwarves are coming up from below. Oh, it's dead. Oh, ran through that guy without so much as slowing down. The thieves have successfully run away so far, but we're down to our last 2 goblin crossbowmen. As part of the proud dwarven tradition, this crossbow mother has decided to bring her baby into combat. Hopefully the baby will learn to be a legendary observer by the time it grows up. Here's the combat report of Quarrel, the Marksdwarf. The Marksdwarf strikes the Goblin Bowman, but the shot is narrowly deflected by the copper bow. The Marksdwarf bashes the Goblin Bowman in the left lower arm with her iron crossbow, fracturing the bone. The force twists the left elbow, tearing apart the muscle and bruising the bone, and tearing apart the muscle and bruising the bone. A ligament has been torn and a tendon has been torn. The Goblin Crossman Bax Slagzudnugt is fighting. The Marksdwarf jumps away from the flying iron bolt. The Goblin says, "The battle rages on. I must press on." The militia commander jumps away from the flying bolt. The militia captain blocks the flying iron bolt with the iron shield. The Goblin says, "Death is all around us. This is truly horrifying." The axe dwarf blocks the flying iron bolt with the iron shield. The Goblin crossbowman says, "How fragile we are. Begone, fear." The Spear Dwarf stabs the Goblin crossbowman in the right foot with her steel spear, fracturing the bone and shattering the right ankle's bone through his worn-out dingo leather low boot. Spear Dwarf knocks down the Goblin crossbowman. That's where we are now. So I'm worried if I read too many of these combat reports, the combat will get boring. But it's kind of the only way to see what's going on. So let's just check out one more. The Swords Dwarf Brawley. I haven't even looked yet. Blocked a flying iron bolt with the iron shield. Okay, maybe a little more. Spear Dwarf Polite. The Marksdwarf Shooty is fighting. Bashes the Goblin Bowman in the upper body with her steel crossbow, but the attack is deflected by the armor. Okay, here we go. Here's the dwarves versus this Goblin crossbowman. One of the last Goblin thieves is over here, right on the very edge of the map. And the last of the Goblin crossbowmen is over here somewhere too. Oh, there he is. So I'm just going to tell the dwarves to come this way. Here we have Snodub Zoburar, goblin crossbowman. He's afraid after experiencing trauma. He is horrified after seeing a goblin die. He is horrified after seeing a goblin die. Well, guess what you're about to see, dude? Alright, let's follow him, see what he does. Kind of looks like retreating to me. No! I have given the order to kill this guy specifically, but he might walk off the screen before they get there. So let's find out, I guess. Oh, yeah. Well, congratulations. You win. I'm going to cancel your orders. You can just go do whatever you want. Welcome to the Fortress of Floortorch. This is the fort I made using the tutorial that came with the game. At the moment, the fortress is this wall with a gate wide enough for a wagon to go through it. It's 2 stories tall so far, working on a 3rd story, but kind of gave up on that because it's pretty safe as far as it goes for now. We have an area of fortifications, so our crossbow team could stand here and fire upon invaders. Down here, you have a tavern that is entirely separate from the fort, and it has its own bedrooms. In the event of a truly dire emergency, we could lock these doors quick and slam this bridge shut, and the subterranean part of Floortorch would be completely isolated from the world here. So then the people on the tavern, of course, would kind of be on their own, but we have a small pasture for some animals and some plant gathering, a conveniently located carpenter's shop. Going down, we have the stockpile that the tutorial forced me to build. I normally wouldn't build on this level. We have the original farm area, corpse stockpile, dumping zone, wood stockpile, another carpenter's workshop. The cooking area, we have the fort's functioning well is here, which is filled from the river. The river freezes in winter, which is yet another reason why we want to have a well. We've got a few kitchen and farmy things in here. Got 2 stills, got the kitchen, stockpiles for raw ingredients, finished ingredients, barrels or rock pots, butcher's shop, tanner's shop right next to each other, fishery, farm plot for pigtail seeds. Going 1 level down, turkey farm with nest boxes, poults locked away in a cage to reduce the FPS damage. We have the crafting area over here, a few bedrooms, few mason's shops for stone tables, stuff like that. Got a rudimentary clothes area going. We have a shortage of any kind of cloth. We mostly have a leather kind of thing going. We traded for a lot of leather. We're trying to grow the pigtails ourselves. That's kind of just been slow to get going, but it's kicking in. Going down one more level, we have the Temple of No Particular Deity. We have the library. We have the hospital. We have the dining room, which hardly ever gets used because they really prefer the tavern. Got some stockpiles. A bunch of beds on this level. Overflow for food. The ashery and soap making place to supply the hospital. And new bedrooms. Oh, and here's the dormitory. Going down one more level. Furnaces, metalsmiths' forges. Is it the farmer's workshop or whatever? Some storage. The underground training area for the military. Some of their bedrooms, so they don't have real far to go. Stockpiles of stuff they probably should be wearing. Some stuff they shouldn't. We're really making a push for steel now, so we can just make a whole bunch of steel armor all at once. And that's it. We've dug out huge areas to supply limestone for steel production, barely keeping up with that. And we have cracked into the first cave layer, and it was full of water. And then I realized we didn't really have the military to deal with the later cave layers anyways, so we kind of quit exploring underground for a little bit. Hey, look, it's the human traders. And because I've been way overpaying these guys, they've brought tons and tons of stuff to trade. Hooray! I'm just gonna follow this human hammer man. If you enjoyed this content, please like, comment, or subscribe. Thanks for watching.